My name is Professor Erica Sanborn, and I've been teaching in higher education for 21 years. I want to share my reflections on how students can use AI ethically in 2025. I really thought we were going to have the flying cars by now. Back to the Future with the DeLorean, and he had the hover conversion done. Been waiting a long time for the future, and it is now. There are no flying cars for some reason, but we do have generative AI, don't we? The academic dishonesty is not about workload or difficulty. This is about a fundamental mismatch between what higher education believes learning and assessment should be and what many students currently believe. I'm going to demonstrate how to complete an assignment two ways. Ethically, where the student generates their own response and then can use AI appropriately for things like editing grammar. And then we'll do it unethically, where AI is used to generate substantive content, which constitutes academic dishonesty, because the student's labor is spent manipulating the AI, not completing the assignment that is going to be assessed. And although this video is public, whenever I'm using words like ethics and policies, these matters should refer to your context. I am making this video with my own students and current policies in mind. But after the demo, I'll compare both processes and final outputs. And my goal here is to convince you that choosing the ethical path is the better way for you. Right? Your task is to talk to someone who is an adult at least 25 years apart from you in age. So unless you are a decidedly non-traditional student, you're going to look for someone who's at least 25 years older than you. And then ask your person about the home buying process today. You could say something like, for a school assignment, I'm supposed to ask you what you think about the home buying process today. And you can acquire what you need in a couple of minutes. Here is a video call. And importantly, she did not know what I was going to ask her. So this is her genuine, unprompted response. For a school assignment, I'm supposed to ask you what you think about the home buying process today.
I think it's fairly easy, because we have access to everything that we need, but you also have to do your own research.
Anything else that comes to mind? There's no wrong answer.
Yeah. Home buying, it's not just going out and saying, oh, I love this house, I have to have it. You have to have knowledge of the math behind it, your personal income, and not going above budget. And I don't know, home buying, it's a good thing, especially if you have cats. It's the biggest purchase you're ever probably going to make in your life. And we all know that it's a good thing to have that for your credit and everything. But, like I told my own children, stay within budget and know that you can handle anything that comes up, because it's, if something goes wrong in a condo or that you're renting, you call somebody and they fix it. If you own the house, you're responsible.
Totally. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, this is about Jill, who is 35 years older than Demo Me. In a brief summary of their response, Jill focused on personal responsibility and financial literacy. She said buying a home is probably the biggest purchase someone will make, and so figuring out a personal budget basis is important. She said that buying a home can be great, but She also gave cautionary advice saying that when you rent, you can call someone to fix things, but when you own, it's on you. Then she circled this back to the importance of making sure you're financially on budget to handle those homeowner expenses. Now, for concept integration, Jill said that she told her own children that if something goes wrong in a place they're renting, that they can call somebody and they fix it. But if they own the house, then they need to be responsible for fixing it. That is a lot of theys. I should probably write that more clearly. But that motherly emphasis on individual preparedness and financial literacy that Jill shared is an illustration of an intra-psychic mode of help. And that has a focus on the individual person preparing for a social situation. There was also a lot of advice in our 3-minute chat. Some other topics included the importance of gathering information and doing that budget, mathing it out so that the home buying process is a matter of personal agency, taking control, figuring it out, gaining autonomy and access to housing resources. And the way Jill talks to her children about the home buying process illustrates the concept of empowerment. And for my third concept, I think Jill's focus on budgeting and self-sufficiency is emphasizing equal opportunity and personal responsibility, which is more of a fair play and not a fair share perspective on the home buying process. I say this also by what she didn't mention, which were more of the structural considerations, such as the presence of housing discrimination or lack of affordable housing and whatnot. This tracks because fair play goes with centering those individual level factors consistent with an intra-psychic mode of help. And the brief conclusion, my personal take about the home buying process is that I wish there were a way to decolonize the whole thing. I do know that fair play and fair shares are two different notions of justice, but I can't ever wrap my head around home buying on Turtle Island as anything other than a social justice issue due to the gross misallocation of resources. At this point, I can use AI ethically. I have actually done the work and I have a complete draft. It needs to be tidied up. I definitely said they too many times in my draft, but the ethical use of AI should feel kind of like going to the tutoring center on campus. Campus tutors don't write your papers for you, but they can help you know whether you're on the right track, and ethical AI usage should feel kind of like that. Whatever you do at this point should be consistent with the AI policies in your current context. For students in my classes, feel free to use this exact prompt as I'm about to show you. So here's the prompt that I used and allow in my classes. Please help by checking my essay for writing errors and for completeness. I am giving you 3 things: my complete draft, the weekly assignment, and the graded post assignment guidelines that apply to all graded posts. I do not want you to do my work for me. I did my work. I would like your help in checking my work for writing errors and assignment completeness. If you have suggested revisions, please enumerate them below with explanations. If you find that I did not complete all parts of the assignment, please point out what I'm missing, but do not generate that missing content for me. And then I copy paste the complete post that I just shared with you, and I attach the assignment for the week and the graded post guidelines. And I'm skipping down to the summary, although the link to this chat is public and you're welcome to review it for details. And basically, it counted 3 terms, although I did use 4. It says to add bold type, which would be correct, and it doesn't know that I've got that handled, so that's fine. It recognized that I forgot to add the AI disclosure in on the bottom, so that's a good catch. It made some suggestions for revising the writing in my draft. Some edits I think are good ones, and others not so much, but those are the writing revisions for tone that you can consider for yourself. and it didn't comment on my multiple use of they in that paragraph, and it should have, because that's an ambiguous reference. But this is ethical AI usage as far as I'm concerned. Using this prompt after completing the assignment on your own. Totally fine. All right. All right, here's what we get when I give one AI app the same assignment and ask for it to generate the interview. Different models and apps are going to generate different versions of bogus interview summaries. And what I'm going to do for brevity is to just read the first of the sample AI generated interviews here and discuss why it's not good. Most college students are 20 to 30 years old. Not all, but most are 20 to 30 years old. James is around 55 years old. Okay. James, first of all, he's retired at 55. That is interesting. My fellow Gen Xers would love to ask James how he was able to swing that. Buying a home today seems far more complicated and expensive to James than when he purchased his first house in the 1980s. When she purchased as a child, leaving that alone, housing prices back then were more affordable to income, and banks were more willing to work with first-time buyers. Okay. James is obviously very money smart. He bought his first home as a child. He was able to retire by around age 55. Look, for students watching this video, I'm going to leave that up to you. You can ask the Google about the interest rates in the 80s, but I promise you that nobody who's a generation older than you are would talk about today's interest rates as higher than they were in the 80s. You know, the ridiculous thing about AI generated interviews, there's a lot, but no matter how many times you do it, and I had ChatGTP generate several, it never deviated from the absurd. And there is also an entire separate category of problem, and that is that the AI will naturally try to align with your perspective, which is something that is going to mess with authenticity, because instead of thinking what would a 55-year-old actually say, the AI is going to weigh your concerns more heavily because it's optimizing for engagement with you. I have a citation for this claim that demonstrates what I'm talking about. For anyone who has never asked someone a generation older than they are about what they think about the home buying process today, they will always respond with some form of wisdom or caution or advice or direction. They're not going to say any of the nonsense that the robots have generated here on their behalf. This past weekend, I made this video after receiving a ton of AI-generated responses to this assignment that were all kinds of nonsense and all kinds of academic dishonesty. And to those students who have been submitting AI-generated essays and doing the most to say how they were coincidentally living next to a 55-year-old retired neighbor who thinks all the same things as the AI expects them to or whatever, I am begging you to stop, for your sake, because you are capable of so much more. And for the rest of you who either don't use AI or who use it ethically, either is fine. I appreciate you. I know things are complicated these days, and I'm hoping that you realize that using technology in place of your own learning and knowledge acquisition is literally gatekeeping your own self. And I want you to have more chances than that. But for all of my students, if you have any actual concerns or difficulties, or if there's anything getting in your way in my class, please talk to me and we will figure things out together. All right?